Welcome to this glute awakening session where we will start to feel into the sensation of the glutes. We will begin to move around to almost massage the glutes into the earth and begin to activate the muscles so we can feel and tap into the sensations when strengthening. So join me on the mat in a seated position where we will begin to explore together. So find a comfortable position where we can feel the sit bones grounded into the earth, where you can allow your buttocks to simply kind of melt into the floor. You can let the muscles go and just feel the support of the structure of your body. You can close your eyes. Maybe visualize the actual melting of the skin into the mat, the muscle moving outwards, creating more space to ground your body in. And then starting to allow the awareness of the breath to travel up and down the body. You might want to visualize the sit bones as those almost like forks into the earth, plugging you in, grounding you down. And we breathe the energy from the ground up to the crown of the head and beyond. And we'll exhale, allow that breath to travel back down through the body, down through into the forks of the sit bones and into the ground. Continuing this rhythm of your breath slowly, mindfully. Taking a few moments out of your day to arrive, to observe, to become present with where you are, with what you are, with how you are today. And maybe blinking the eyes open, coming back into the space and just having a little look around. Just allowing the environment to be welcomed back in. And you might just move around on the buttocks a little bit. It's going to be our main focus for this practice. But obviously the rest of the body is interconnected, interwoven. So everything really is going to be linked. And as we move, we can just maybe feel how the sit bones are being experienced, maybe how the tailbone might feel, how the muscles that surround all the way out to the greater trochanter, the bone that sticks out the side of the hip, how that feels today. Take another breath. And then bring the hands maybe behind you to lean into and let your feet go a little bit wider than the hips. And we're going to rock from side to side. So we're going to take an internal rotation with one leg and external rotation with the other. And then we rotate and we go the other way. But I want you to think less about the internal external rotation and focus on how this affects the buttocks, all the way across glute medius, glute maximus, even to the TFL, this bit on the side, if you can get there, and just noticing if there are any areas that feel tender or tight or maybe soft. Maybe they feel interesting to maneuver. What does it feel like for your body? This is such a strong, important part of our bodies, and quite often we end up just sitting on it. That's it. We obviously use these muscles more than we may realise, but it's always a great part of the body to bring attention to, especially as we often get a lot of lower back pain as well, and around the sacral area we tend to feel quite a lot of discomfort at times, especially when we've done a lot of sitting. Good, so let's bring the feet back to the centre, and we're going to start just to rock the pelvis back and forward. So We're just moving like we would if we were doing this lying down. Pelvis back and forward, little tilts forward and back. And you can move this up the spine a little bit more, so you can even expand through the spine and just feeling that tailbone as well, sacrum, getting a little bit of space to move too. Just waking up the spine as well as just the glutes. Everything's connected, remember? So the lower back will play an important role here too. Now, if you want to add a little bit of movement for the hips here, you can play with opening and closing the hips. You can leave the hips open and play with the movement here, which I think feels really nice for my hips. Decide what feels right for you. Syncing that together, which might feel quite interesting. One more breath. And then we'll come onto the back, drawing the knees in, taking hold of either the knees or behind the knees. And we're going to move around the sacrum, the edge of the sacrum. So that triangular shaped bone, which you can feel as you roll around, moving into the edges here nicely and just exploring the sensations that you experience here. If you've maybe done a lot of walking, running, or lots of exercise, you might feel this more than if maybe you haven't. Or again, it might be a sensitive area for your body anyway. So just checking in with what you feel today. It's different each time you might come here. So maybe you've done a long car journey and you're like, gosh, my sacrum is really feeling it, as opposed to when you're normally in your routine and it just feels maybe comfortable to massage. Always find it's nicer to have a harder surface to play here because it feels much more like a massage. It's lovely. Take another breath. Now we'll extend the left leg away and we're going to take the right knee, draw it across the body to the left side into a bit of a twist. So we start here first. Oh, there goes my back, lovely. Way. And then we'll draw it open to the side, drop the foot and let the knee rock open. Now don't worry about whether this left butt lifts off the floor a little bit. We're just going to play with then coming back across, dropping it over towards the left side, and then back over and letting the knee open. And just feeling into that sacral area all the way across to even the left TFL, across the sacrum. This is nice for the SI joint to open the hip here. If you want to, you can always bring a fascia ball in at any point underneath that right hip or even the hand by the SI joints to help open up into the hip a little bit more. If you're like, I don't really know where that is, don't worry. Take one more breath. This time we're going to leave the right leg, to the left side into our twist, but maybe extend that right leg, maybe catching the outside of the right shin or the foot and get that lovely lateral stretch on the hamstring in the boomerang area of the buttocks, which feels absolutely divine for me. And you can move the head around, getting the head to move around as well. Feels really great, especially for that release in the tension of the back of the head. We carry our heads all day. It feels quite nice here. I'll take another couple of breaths. Good. Now we're going to slowly bring the legs back together and roll onto our left side. Now you can simply just bring the left hand underneath the head. You can come up a little bit higher if you want to. And we're going to circle the right hip. Doesn't matter which direction you go. You can have a soft bent knee. And we're just circling around that leg. Just playing with some rotation into the hip. Activating the buttocks a little bit. And then we're going to go back the other way. They can be as big or as small as you want them to be. Just again, having that little playfulness in your hip. Lovely. And then we'll roll back onto the spine. This right leg is going to cross over the left thigh, so bending that left knee again. Arms can go where they're comfortable. And just taking a moment to lift the hips off the floor, about an inch, not too high, and holding. Now, if you find this quite intense, you can always lower, take a break and lift, or just hold, breathe. Check that your systems are relaxed, that don't need to be stressed. So obviously you're stressing muscle to activate, to lift the hips off the floor, but you don't have to be stressed in your body. Your breath can still be fluid. We're still relaxed. The belly is only active as much as it needs to be, so we're not squeezing the belly in. We're just allowing the body to be where it needs to be in order to lift the hips just off the floor. We'll take another breath. Inhale. Now shift the hips slightly to the left to drop the right buttock into the ground. And again, we're just going to rock back and forward, massaging that right butt cheek into the floor, all the way over to the greater trochanter and back to the sacrum. If you've got tenderness in this area, this feels great. And once again, if you want to place a fascia ball into this part of your body, you can. We'll take another few rocks. And then as we bring the bum back to the center, elevate the right leg up to the sky and then just kick up and down. So make it a little bit more dynamic, waking up the hamstrings a bit. Remembering that the hamstrings connect to the glutes, glute max, the sit bones, the ischial tuberosity. That's a cool word. And we're just waking up this dynamic movement of the leg. Good, one more breath. Now leave the leg up to the sky and push down through that left foot again, lifting up the hips maybe again an inch. And we're going to slowly lower the right leg. See if you can maintain the lift of the buttocks. Slow lower, hovering that right foot above the floor. Slow lift, lifting the leg back up to the sky. Keep the hips hovering if you can. Slow lower. So again, finding the areas of the body that need to be active and the areas that don't need to. So relax the jaw. Inhale, lift the right leg back up. One more time. Slow lower. Slow lift. And then we drop the bum back to the floor, bring the legs in, rock around on your sacrum a little bit. You might find that one side feels different from the other already. Maybe it's the same. Just taking a few moments to explore your body gently. Drop down now. The right leg extends, left knee crosses to the right side into that lovely twist. And then we come back over and we open the left knee. And this doesn't have to be quick, it can be nice and slow. And exploring your rotation of your hips. So you've got a bit of internal happening as we drop the knee down to the floor, and then external as we open the hip out, the knee out. And we're all designed differently. Every hip joint is different depending on where the ball sits into the socket, how the socket's actually designed, how the ball is designed. So never give yourself a hard time if you don't have open hips. Just listen to what your body can do. We don't want to over push any part of our body just for the sake of being flexible. Now we'll leave that left leg over to the left side, maybe straightening the left leg, catching the outside of the leg or the foot, and then you come into that twist, and again it feels so nice perhaps to rock the head side to side. Feeling that boomerang area all the way round and down the leg. Feeling how we're all interconnected. It's so nice to explore the connections of the body. We bring the legs together, we roll onto the right side, cupping the hand and then circling that left leg. I like to keep my knee a little bit bent. You can have a straight leg if you prefer. It doesn't have to be the biggest circles you've ever done in your entire life, but enough movement that you start to feel the hip area, the buttocks starting to activate and wake up a little bit. And we can circle and go back the other way. And just keep the breath moving and just feeling what's happening in your glutes, in your body. Okay, we're going to roll back onto the spine. This left leg is going to cross over the right thigh. Coming into our figure four, and then just pick up the hips, an inch off the floor. This can be a lift and a lower, or it can be a hold. Now, my hips are floating. I'm not lifting so high I'm in a bridge position. It's just a little bit off the ground. And I'm trying to maintain my hips as level as possible, but you know what? Be where you need to be. And just feel, what I want you to feel is the buttock of the right leg kicking on, the hamstring. And you're active in this right leg, but there are other parts of your body that can simply not have to really switch on. So we're only partly switched on here, not fully. Good, now we'll shift the hips slightly over to the right to drop the fleshy part of the left butt cheek into the floor and to give it a bit of a massage. Oh yeah. And if you're like me and you like glute work and you do it a lot to support your back, my glutes quite often feel quite tender. Again, this is a lovely place if you want to work with a fascia ball. You can always place a fascia ball into the buttock to add a bit more pressure if that feels good for your body. As we come back to the center with the hips, we elevate the left leg and we kick and lower. So we're playing with a bit of movement here. Allowing that feeling of expansion to happen in the back of the leg. Don't worry if your bum slightly lifts off the floor, it's fine. Just feel the stretch, dynamically waking up the muscles. Not obviously throwing the leg too far, but your leg will only go as far as it can go. It'll hit that resistance. It'll go a little bit further when we're dynamically waking up than you can when you're slower, but then we bounce back out of it. And then leave the left leg up to the sky, maybe float the right hips off the floor just an inch as we slowly lower that left foot towards the earth, slowly activating the right leg. We slowly lift it back up to the sky. Slowly lower. Slowly lift it back up. One more. Slowly lower. Slowly lift. Drop the bum. Hug the knees in. Maybe massage around the sacral area again. And then we can come all the way up to our hands and our knees. A little bit of glute power, just a little bit. If you need something underneath your knees, by all means take it so you feel the support if you need extra softness. Now we'll bring a little bit more weight into the right hand so that we're not leaning into the left hip too much. All we're going to do is lift the right knee up and bring knee to knee. So I'll show you from the front. It's just a lift and a lower. A little bit more weight going down to the right hand. And if you want to work extra hard, you can wrap the left arm or left fingers around the right elbow. And we keep going. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift, lower, lift, lower. It's that moment you're probably like, I wish you would count so I knew how many to do. We'll do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, pulse up, up, little pulses up, up, up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Replace the left hand and we're circling this right knee round and back, in, around, up and back. So the knee is bent and we're playing with movement. See if we can isolate predominantly that right hip. Rather than throwing the whole body in for now, keep it more isolated to just the hip glute, and the back will move a little bit, it's okay. Let's reverse the direction. Up and over, around and in. And you'll feel all the muscles that are supporting this movement. The shoulders are kicking in when they're needed. The core, they're reflexively responding when required. So we don't need to hug anything or push anything. Just let the movement take care of it so the nervous system knows what it's doing. Good, one more. Bring the knees together. Now we're going to extend the right leg straight back and just check that your toes are all pointing down to the floor. Knee to knee. Extend, knee to knee. You maybe want to grab hold of that right elbow again. Now imagine as you're pushing back, you're kicking back but also slightly up, and you feel the right buttocks really kicking in as you do this movement. Couple more, lift, lower. Last one, lift and hold. Pulse up, up, up. Small movements, but I know that you can feel it. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release into your child pose and take a break. Softening your body. If you want to wiggle the hips around, you can. And take a moment to breathe. We've got 2 legs. Woohoo! So we're going to do the second side. Coming onto the hands and the knees. And we're going to lift that left knee out to the left side, leaning a bit into the left hand and close. Lift and close. We only have to open as far as the hip actually allows the leg to move. So we don't have to try and lift it up to the sky. The hips will move a little bit. If you want to check that you're really bringing that weight into the left side, maybe grab hold of the left elbow of the right hand. This will switch the core a little bit as well because you're having to work with balance a little bit more. And keep breathing. Let's do another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it up and pulse. Small pulses up to the sky. We'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Circle the leg back. Replace the right hand to the earth if you want, knees together, forward, round and back. And again, we're just trying to keep the rest of the body as stable as possible as we move the leg around. Enjoying, feeling the muscles move the joints rather than us relying on the joints to do all the stacking and all the work. A couple more this direction. And then we'll swap and go the other way. Back, up and over. And up and over. Technically, we already did this movement on our side. We're just fighting a little bit harder against gravity here to pull it up and around. A few more. And now we'll extend the left leg back. Again, check the toes are pointing down. Have a little look. And then we'll bring knee to knee. Extend back and just slightly up so you feel the buttocks switching on. Head is nice and elongated, so we're not looking down. We're equally not having to look up. We're just keeping the spine as neutral as possible. Couple more. Maybe keep that leg extended and pulse up, 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 up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release into your child pose position. Take a moment to breathe and let go. And then we'll come back to the sit bones. Take a moment to sit back where we started. Plugging the sit bones back into the earth. If you need a bit of wiggling around, you can. Maybe close the eyes. And breathing from the buttocks up to the crown of the head and back down again. Recentering, regrounding. And again, seeing if we can melt the glutes into the floor. Softening the muscles. Releasing. Take a few more breaths, just like this. Softening parts of the body that don't need to be active until we choose to reactivate when the time is right for us.